The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.
Welcome to the OPTAVIA Habits of Health call. I'm Shirley Mast. I'm a certified OPTAVIA coach, and it's my pleasure to host this call for you. Now, if this is your first time joining the Habits of Health call, a special welcome to you. And I know we've got some brand new clients on tonight. We're really delighted that you're here. This call is designed for all OPTAVIA clients, coaches, health professionals. Could be you don't fit in any of those categories. You're just interested in learning more about good health and maybe about how our program can help you create better health. So whatever brings you to the call tonight, we're just delighted to have you here, and know that you're very welcome. You're probably going to hear content tonight that's going to be geared towards people in various stages of their health journey. Some will be in the weight loss phase, some will be in transition, some will be in optimization, moving on towards a lifetime of optimal health. So the thing is that's kind of wonderful is that OPTAVIA offers excellent tools and support for weight loss, but we also have a lot to offer anyone who's looking for better health in any area of life. Now, if you are in the weight loss phase now, maybe you're on our Optimal Weight 5 in 1 plan, please be sure to follow the guidelines that have been set up for you as guided by your free OPTAVIA coach. Now, this webinar tonight is being recorded. It's going to be available on your OPTAVIA Coach's co-branded website as well as on our YouTube channel and by podcast, and that should be posted within 48 hours. So if you're looking for the recording later, because we think it's going to be kind of awesome, you can go to YouTube, you can search Habits of Health Zoom, or if you're looking for podcasts, you can just open up the podcast player of your choice. We recommend iTunes, and then simply search for OPTAVIA. Now, if you're one of those listening to the recording, congratulations to you for investing in your health. We invite you to join us live next time to be part of the discussion, because these Habits of Health support webinars are held every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can get more information from your OPTAVIA coach or whoever it was that invited you onto this call. I got to say, I am really excited to have so many of you here tonight, and actually put in the chat box, put a 1 in the chat box if this is your very first Habits of Health call. We're just delighted to have newbies coming in. Of course, the newbies might still be trying to figure out where the chat box is, and that's okay too. But we've got a really great lineup set up for you this evening, and I'm really excited for you to get a chance to meet my special guest this evening. So our topic this evening is From Obesity to Freedom. We run this about every quarter and give you an opportunity to hear from people who have lost a lot of weight. Now, you don't have to lose a lot of weight in order for your health to be transformed. But for some people, this health journey does involve a significant amount of weight loss. And we find that people that fit in that category like to have an opportunity to hear from others that have done what they're hoping to accomplish. So that was indeed how my health journey started. I started this program at close to 400 pounds. I came to this program because my physician said he thought it would help me. I didn't for a second believe that it would help. I didn't think it would work, but my health was at a desperate place because frankly, I was at a point at the age of 48, almost 49, where I was quite certain I wasn't going to get to meet my grandchildren because my health was in such a bad place. And I had kind of resigned myself to that, thinking that it was something I couldn't change, so I should probably figure out a way to deal with it. And I'm a scrapbooker. And so I had started creating our family albums with very great intentionality because I thought that would be the way that my grandchildren would get to know who I was. Well, that sounds really depressing, but I know how the story ends, so hang in with me. Because you can see by the picture here, that's not how the story ended. I started this program. 2 weeks into it, I realized, oh my word, this is gonna work. I went on to lose 217 pounds. That means that those grandbabies that have now come along, not only do I get to meet them, to play with them, I can sit on the floor to play with them, get back up again. And I'm looking forward to one day perhaps dancing at their weddings because my health has gotten so good. The other thing that I think is really important for some of you who are at the beginning of your journey to know is that not only have I lost the weight, but because I have the tools, the ongoing support of this program, I'm not afraid the weight's coming back. And that's a level of freedom I didn't think was possible. Now, I am delighted to introduce you to our next guest. Our next guest is Brittany May. Some of you have heard her story before. She's had some new interesting developments, and I'd love for Brittany to share her story with you.
Well, hello, everybody. Hello, hello. So a little bit has changed in the last couple of years, just a little bit, but we'll get you up to speed real quick. Once upon a time, I was basically chunker from the womb, but always overweight as a kid. I was the last kid to finish laps in soccer practice in kindergarten. I was denied access to ride a roller coaster in 7th grade. Just weight had always been an issue. I fed every single emotion that could be felt with food. I just did not have a healthy relationship with food, but thankfully I had lots of people loving on me, because here I was at the age of 23, a teacher who just wanted to give the world to her students but couldn't. And it was all on me. But I had people in my life loving on me, stubborn me. Sometimes it takes a little bit for me to actually listen to what people are saying, but thankfully I had people loving on me, and one day, one habit at a time, we worked on healthy eating, we worked on healthy sleeping and drinking more water, and we're a third of what we used to be. Just like Shirley had said, it's not about, people are good at losing weight, but are we good at keeping it off? Yeah, because we're actually rewiring that brain. You didn't just wake up 500 pounds. You're not just going to wake up a third of yourself. It takes constant habit work. And this program has given me those tools to know that I'm 26, ready to face the rest of my life. Getting married in June, I've got a life of just everything. Life is so crazy. But I know I have these tools to make sure that this transformation is truly lifelong.
Now, Heidi, did you tell us how much weight you lost?
Oh, I probably should say that. In 23 months, yours truly has lost 336 pounds.
Which is pretty awesome. How many of you just went, oh. And you know what, Brittany? Bring them up to speed on what's happened in the last couple of months for you.
So last couple of months, I lost 336 pounds, and I put myself in the best possible position. But unfortunately, so yes, I did this naturally. I did this without surgery, but I did just undergo 12 weeks ago skin removal surgery. I drank all the water. I worked out at the end, but for me personally, being a youngin, carrying around 13 pounds of extra skin just wasn't going to do it for me. So we took care of that.
And one of the earlier commenters said, "Look at that little waist." Oh my gosh, our little itty Brittany now has an itty bitty waist. We're so excited for you. And actually, for some of you that have a question about that, the skin removal, and we're not going to go into the details of Brittany's surgery, but some of you have concerns about that, and that is one of the questions that I'll address here this evening for you. So yes, so how many of you are really glad you showed up this evening just to hear Brittany's story, right? That's awesome. Well, hang on, I got another one for you. So the next person I'd love, and the thing that's really fun for me, I am not the personal coach of either Brittany or John, but because they are coached by coaches on our team, I've gotten to watch this transformation. It's really pretty cool. So I'm really delighted to next introduce to you John Spencer, who has a pretty amazing story of his own.
Well, thank you so much, Shirley. I appreciate that. Brittany, it's always amazing to hear your transformation story. It's just inspiring every single time. So thank you for living out loud and just being yourself. My story goes back, just like Brittany said, I've always been a larger, chunkier, huskier guy. And, I've kind of lived my life in that pattern. I remember being age 11 and having to shop in the larger kids section and always being a lot bigger and plumper than the other boys. And it always just rubbed me wrong. I was like, I don't want to live this way forever. And I fought and I did everything under the sun that I could to take care of that problem. And so I got married in 2003, and here we are. After I met my wife, we had two beautiful little girls, and I found myself waking up and just being tired and sore and sick and tired, and I was denied life. I wasn't able to really participate. I was very passive in my journey. And I didn't want that for my children because I felt like I was robbing them of something great, of robbing them of a father that was there and active. I was super passive, and I allowed life to happen to me. I wasn't very active. And so all that changed when my coach reached out in love and said, brother, I know you're struggling. Let's take care of this. And I said, no. I said, no. I got this. I've been doing this and not doing a great job for 13 years. I think I can do it on my own still. And it was like a month later, I was like, you know what? I need support. Like, that's the one thing that's missing from this. And so I said yes. And that was January 4th of last year, 2018, where I said yes. I started my journey. 140 pounds later, the guy on the other side is saying, I am so glad I made that decision, because you never know, you're one yes away from changing your life.
I love it.
I've loved also paying it forward. So that's something that I've also kind of fallen in love with, is not only I've taken the journey I've been through and I've been able to say, you know what, I want other people to find that same freedom. I'm a firm believer that once we're the possessors of knowledge, we're inclined to give that away to people. And I love hearing the stories of people saying, I need help. I'm where you were. And I said, yes, let's tackle this together. It's one healthy habit at a time. It's one day at a time, and it works.
And you know, John, I'm really glad you mentioned that part about the aspect of coaching on this. I know for me, that was one of the reasons why I started coaching, was I knew coaches were more likely to stay healthy longer. That made sense to me. And so really I started coaching as a way of reinforcing my own health journey. And I know both you and Brittany have found that to be true in your own journeys. So what we're going to do for the rest of this evening, and if you guys want to add fuel to this for the next call, you could use the Q&A box. We will definitely read through the chat box later, but the chat box goes so fast we can't keep up. But if you have a question that you would like us to answer on a future call, use the Q&A box for that, the Q&A function. But I'm going to use some of the questions that came in on the last call, and actually the very first one that I'd love to have you guys answer, and we'll go with ladies first. But when you started the program, did you have any idea that you would be so successful? And if not, when did you realize it was really going to happen for you?
So I had tried everything but I had this friend who I knew and loved. How could she steer me wrong? But there's always this twinge of all I wanted to do. I was wearing a size 38 in women's pants. I was over a quarter of a ton. I wanted maybe one day my weight would start with a 3, maybe, and maybe one day again I could buy pants in a store. Did I see this? Did I see like any of this? No. But once we got through, it was one of those, all right, I'm gonna give it my all. If I'm gonna do this, I'm going to do this. And from day one, we just went. And those days start to add up. And by the end of the first month, I had realized, well, this is working. Why not? If it's working, why not keep going? So, I mean, we just did the thing.
And you know what, guys, I'm going to brag on Brittany here a little bit. I remember talking to her when she had lost about 300 pounds. And I said to her, how many times have you gone off plan? And she said, well, not any. Did you guys just hear what I said? Okay. She lost the 300 pounds sticking strictly to 5 and 1. In other words, if it's not in the OPTAVIA guide, you don't eat it. Okay. That's how you get that kind of remarkable rate of loss, because she got laser focused in, gonna do it. John, what would you say to that question? When did you know this was gonna work for you?
Yeah, for me, it was day 4. I was just like you said you were at your beginning of your journey. I was like, I'll give it a shot. You know, I'll appease my friend. I want to change, yes. But I'm like, I've tried everything. Like, nothing works. Like, how is this any different? And then on day 4, I remember the specific moment I knew. I was driving to work, and I was all of a sudden, like, I had all these things going in my head, and all of a sudden I just had this, it was like the clouds parted, and I just had this clarity of mind, and I was like, aha, this is different. I'm actually being changed from the inside out. And that's really where the momentum was at. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And I got laser focused, and it all goes back to the why, which I think we'll touch on a little bit here.
Yeah, well, and I think, for those of you that are listening or that are struggling, I hope that you heard what they just said. They figured out what they wanted, why they wanted it, and then they went like straight ahead. And that's, I mean, that was very much how it was for me too. Once I got 2 weeks into it, I started to understand the science behind this. And I thought, oh my word, all I have to do is stay on the plan and the weight will come off. I can do that. And that's how you get fantastic results. So tell me, what was one wonderful discovery that you made on this journey to health? Maybe something that you didn't expect to discover, or something that was kind of a pleasant discovery along the way.
So I guess I just didn't realize at the beginning how much of this was a mind game. And once you start to see how the game is actually played, that's when you can start winning. And this, because again, if I would have started on day one, like Brittany, all right, you're going to lose 336 pounds in 23 months. Me? No. But when you break it down day by day and you're constantly celebrating, like every day, even now that I've been maintaining my weight, I am still every single day finding something to celebrate, whether I can tie my shoe without sounding like I'm about to fall over, or just the fact I get in my car and I can drive a little car. Whenever you have those small celebrations along the way, well, life's a party. Why not keep celebrating?
Exactly. Well, and the truth is, you tend to get more of what you celebrate. So when you celebrate those successes, you're kind of wiring yourself to go create more of them. What would you say to that, John? What did you find with some of the discoveries on this journey to health for you?
Yeah, so a lot of people talk about weight loss, right? And they're focused specifically on the weight loss. One thing that really stuck out to me was the life that I gained. You know, Brittany had talked about, we've talked about this before, Brittany, but those roller coasters, those were an impossibility. Those were mountains for us to climb. And one of my celebrations last year, I hit that. So, gosh, I'm trying to think of what I weighed at the time, but in July, I went to Hershey Park, which is just down the road, and I got on the roller coaster I was denied access to 5 years earlier. And I got in the same seat. I was a little nervous just because of the embarrassing time that I had previously when I was asked to get up and get off the ride because they couldn't close the lap bar. And I chose to celebrate my successes by doing the things that I couldn't do. So I have this over my shoulder right here. It says, do hard things. And whenever you do those hard things over and over and over again, they become easier and easier and easier. And so whenever I said, you know what, it's time to celebrate this, I'm not celebrating the way I used to. I'm celebrating by doing a victory lap and going to that roller coaster. And I'm going to buckle that seatbelt. I'm going to pull that lap bar down. I'm going to throw my hands up and I'm going to say, this life's a party, just like Brittany declares.
I love it. Okay, so I'd love to hear some interaction from those of you that are watching. How many of you would be highly motivated by taking a ride in the roller coaster? Put a 1 in the chat box if you would be highly motivated by that whole roller coaster thing. And then put a 5 in the chat box if you would sooner be caught dead than get on a roller coaster. Because I know some of you are out there saying, what are these crazy roller coaster people? Hey, here's another one that I love, because I get this question a lot. People, that's pretty funny. Chat box is kind of half and half on the roller coaster thing. Some people, and because people will say this to me a lot, they'll say to me, you know, if you lose weight fast, you're going to gain it back fast. Now, we've all lost weight fast. What would you respond to that? John, we'll let you go first on this. Do you feel like that saying is true? If you lose weight fast, you gain it back fast. And if you don't think that's true, why is that? Why is it not true? Sorry, I'm guiding you, but I know where you're going to get on this.
So, yeah, no, it's a great question, you know, and it's something that people that are on the other side of that don't, you know, they're cautious, and I totally understand that. I was there before. I would say nothing's going to change if the mindset doesn't change. So if you're going to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, it's not going to work. So I would say it's a possibility if you don't change the mindset. And if the mindset changes, and your determination and your focus is laser focus where it's supposed to be, yeah, this is possible. It's possible to lose it and maintain that and keep it off. And actually, that's what really attracted me to doing this, because weight loss is just this vacuum phrase that I feel like we hear all the time, where it doesn't really have any substance. I was happy years ago losing 10 pounds. I never dreamed when I set my first goal that I would be able to lose 140 pounds. So when you start to feel that momentum, it's like that roller coaster rising into the air, right? It's like, oh, we're chugging along. This feels good. This feels really good. Life feels great. I like where I'm at. I like the freedom I have. I love the life that I've gained. There's no way I'm going to trade that in. That would be foolish of me.
Exactly, because it's a mind shift. And the thing is, you can lose weight quickly and and maintain a healthy weight. You could also lose weight really slow and not change your habits and still gain the weight back. And for me, it's because the habit has shifted. I don't have to be afraid of the weight coming back. Hey, earlier on, I did mention that I would come back to the loose skin thing, because when people talk about losing a lot of weight, I know when people know that I've lost over 200 pounds, it's one of the questions that people ask typically. And I will say, and we haven't addressed that on this call for a while, and I thought I do want to take a moment to do that, and then we're going to get back to some more questions for them. But I know it does come up sometimes, and so it's helpful to have that available, or if you have clients that have this question, you can send them back to this call. I know that my husband and I have coached a lot of clients who have lost over 100 pounds, none of whom have needed surgery. Now, in Brittany's case, my word, she lost 330 pounds. It's a little bit different than losing 100 pounds. But I know that in my case personally, with less weight loss, I don't have anything that I would do surgery on. And I did ask our clinical nutrition director in OPTAVIA for a little bit of input on this, because I think it's helpful for you guys to know. As far as the loose skin issue is concerned, again, for most people, this is not a significant problem, unless of course you lose 330 pounds like Brittany did. But here's what our clinical nutrition director said. She said really genetics is going to play a pretty significant role as far as the skin elasticity is concerned, as well as age, as well as the amount of weight loss and the time frame. Some people are just going to tend to have loose skin. Some people are destined, just like some people are destined to have stretch marks. And genetics will play a big role in that. So if you've lost a lot of weight in a relatively short period of time, it's natural for your skin to feel loose for a period of time. Our skin's able to stretch and shrink due to its elasticity. And muscle holds skin against the body, and fat keeps skin stretched out. So during weight loss, you lose fat and the skin will tend to be a little bit flabbier. But the skin will eventually shrink. However, it takes some time, and that amount of time will vary from individual to individual. So here's the tips. If you've lost, say, 50, 75 pounds, actually, this would be fun to put in the chat box. And I realize it's not about the big numbers, but I know there's a lot of people in this call that have lost a substantial amount of weight. If you've lost more than 100 pounds, would you put into the chat box how much weight you've lost? And we'll just all give you a shout out. Yeah, look at these guys rolling in. It's pretty awesome. So here's your tips to improve loose skin, unless of course you lost 300 pounds like Brittany, okay? But to improve loose skin, here'd be your tips. Stay hydrated. Okay, well, we do that on our program. You know you're going to drink 64 ounces. Some of you are drinking more than that. Water helps to maintain your skin elasticity. Look at all these people holding up their water bottles. Love it. Eat protein-rich foods. Again, on our program, you're getting protein-rich foods because those help to form collagen and elastin, which help to keep the skin plump and elastic. And do resistance training, like lifting weights to fill in that space under loose skin with muscle mass. So if you look at the back of your Habits of Health book, you will find in there a lot of exercises designed to help you build muscle. So if you have an area that's feeling a little saggy, build up the muscle underneath. And remember that the following will decrease skin elasticity. Smoking, which y'all shouldn't be doing anyhow, right? Poor nutrition, which you're not going to have with this program. You've got good nutrition. Dehydration, again, not an issue here. We drink a lot of water. Age, harsh detergents, sun exposure, tanning beds, chlorine exposure. And if you've got more questions on this, talk about it with your healthcare provider. Okay, so there's our little token bit of information on that, because it does come up from time to time. I've got another, let's see, how many questions can we fit in our remaining minutes? How many of you would like us to go on for the next hour and a half? No, we really aren't going to do that. I'd love to hear this though. Tell me this, whichever one of you wants to go on this first. Have you gotten used to the new you? Like sometimes your body can shrink really fast and your head doesn't quite catch up. Do you want to speak to that? Like, do you feel like the new thin person you are now?
I think that goes along with the constantly celebrating. Like I'm constantly just double check. Like I'm always going to love this. Like I'm sitting in a chair with arms and everything's fine. But I mean, there's some mornings I wake up and I catch myself in the mirror like, wait a minute, who's that? Or if I'm in a picture, I blend. And that's the thing. I was so used to sticking out because of my size, even though I tried so desperately to just blend, that I always felt that all eyes were on me. And now actually I was walking around the grocery store like, wait, I don't stick out. That was a kind of a mind blow for me. But no, it depends on the day. There's definitely certain activities that bring it out more, like, yes, you've lost a lot of weight. And then some days you're like, wait, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to speak to that, John? Anything more you'd add?
Yeah, so 2 quick stories. One, I'm used to sitting in a chair that has the arms, and much like Brittany was just talking about, I don't have to navigate around the edges of the seat anymore. But one thing that happened to me really funny last year is I was working nights at the time, and I went to get up out of my seat and push off, and I'm used to using a lot of force to get out of my chair. And I was jettisoned out of the chair, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't need to use that much force anymore. But the second thing was last year in St. Louis at convention, I was walking down the street, and I was walking by these huge glass fronts, and I just caught out of a corner of my eye, this guy walking next to me in the reflection, and I was like, oh, right, wow, okay, he looks dapper.
Who is that handsome man? Wait, that's me.
I had to take a picture of it.
Oh, that's great. And actually some of you are now thinking, because I've had this question come up too, where people have said to me, could I reach out to Brittany and ask her questions about my program? I'll give you a tip, guys. If you're looking for support, go straight to your coach. Okay. In other words, certainly you could use these Freedom from Obesity calls for inspiration. Certainly if you want to follow Brittany on Facebook, if you want to follow John on Facebook, you can do that. Don't go friend them. Don't ask them questions, because they've got their own clients to take care of. And your coach can support you. They can help you with that. But remember that your coach is there to help you. Your coach can walk you through this. They do not have to have lost a lot of weight in order to help you lose a lot of weight. John, how much weight has your coach lost? What is it, like 15 pounds?
I think 24 pounds.
Okay, 24 pounds. So in other words, his coach has not lost a ton of weight. My own coach lost 0 pounds on this program. He was already fit, healthy, okay? So it's not that you need to have somebody who's already had this experience in order to be able to help you along. So tell me this as we wrap this. Actually, I'd love to have one of you answer this, just because I think this is helpful, and then I have our wrap-up question. Have you ever stumbled and made an unhealthy choice, and how'd you recover when you did that?
So during weight loss, during my on-plan phase, I didn't. It was more so an unhealthy mind choice, not necessarily a food choice. But now that I've been maintaining, it's coming to terms with those relationships where you're not going to be 100% every single day, but knowing that you have this support, that if you do stumble, that it's okay. You give yourself grace. You acknowledge, you go through the stop, challenge, choose. Sometimes you choose wrong, and then you just move on and you get back to it. Just like one unhealthy thing isn't going to make you 500 pounds. One salad isn't going to make you a third of yourself. It's knowing that mind shift and knowing you do have the support lifelong too.
Exactly. And I know, like, the thing is, it's kind of a trick question. Have you ever made an unhealthy choice? Of course, we all have. All of us have. I make unhealthy choices. I just push that reset button a whole lot faster than I did before. And I run to my support when I'm struggling. And that's the key. So in the remaining 2 minutes that we've got, my friends, and thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Like, did y'all find this to be helpful? These guys were great, weren't they? What would be one tip that you would give to somebody who has more than 100 pounds to lose, and they're trying to decide whether or not they want to get started? What would be one tip you'd give them in our remaining 2 minutes?
One day at a time. You don't have to face your entire journey all at once. Just take it one day, one habit at a time. That's cling to your coach, cling to the system, one day at a time.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that. And I would also say that just remember, you're more than a number on a scale, and you are far more valuable than that. And I would also say that you deserve better than good enough, because I was living in the good enough phase, and I was tired of living in the good enough. You are worth so much more. And when you take yourself and make your value so much greater than what it is, yeah, it's definitely worth it.
And the 2 cents I'll add to that is, for me personally, you know what the hardest part of this program was? It was that period of time between when I was offered the program and when I said yes. So if you're in that stage, say yes faster than I did. That's the hardest stage. It gets simpler after that. You guys can do this. So as we wrap this up, again, much gratitude to John and Brittany. You guys were awesome. And we are so glad that so many of you joined this call. We love all your comments in the chat box. And I'd encourage you to do 2 things. First of all, connect with the person who invited you onto this call. It might have been your coach or it might have been a friend. Share with them one thing that you learned, maybe something that inspired you. Okay. And also share something from this call with a friend who would find it to be inspiring. Maybe you share the link to the video recording to the podcast, because when we help other people, we get stronger in the process too. So again, so glad you've joined us. Make it a great week, and we'll see you at 8:30 Eastern next Wednesday night for our next Habits of Health webinar.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.